What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about who is Enzo Fernandez's perfect partner in that Chelsea midfield. Now, obviously he's a big money signing, just signed him, played one game, and he looked isolated already. He looked extremely all alone on an island in that midfield position. Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount did not even get close to him once in that game. And that makes me think, who can Chelsea play next to him? So today we're going to talk about potential signings Chelsea could make in the summer to play next to Enzo Fernandez, who is the long-term partner for him. And also we're going to talk about who currently in the Chelsea squad could be used to complement him. First and foremost, I think it's important to understand what Enzo Fernandez's strengths are. Obviously, he could play as a six. We saw that. You'd assume that Graham Potter and the staff know that you need to get some midfielders a bit closer to him for him to be more effective. You also assume they would know that his most effective position is moving higher up the pitch, being able to affect the play. Similar to Kevin De Bruyne, you never see Kevin De Bruyne playing as the deep-lying player. There's always Rodri behind him. There's always Gundogan or Bernardo Silva also there to help pick up the slack on some of that defensive work. I think Chelsea's injuries obviously played a part in who they played because Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount both are more attacking midfielders than they are defensive midfielders, obviously. Their skill set doesn't really rely on them dropping deep and collecting the ball and doing an abundance of defensive work. The most of their defensive work comes from them pressing rather than them cutting passing lanes or winning the ball back. Now let's talk about who in the squad potentially right now could be Enzo Fernandez's perfect midfield part. Now obviously it depends on the formation they want to play, we've heard Graham Potter say he wants to play a 4-3-3. We've seen that he can play a 4-2-3-1. I saw at Benfica that Enzo played in a 4-2-3-1. Now, I think if you're playing that formation, you could stick N'Golo Kante there when he's fit, and that could be the perfect partnership because obviously N'Golo Kante, if he is up to his best, excels in that defensive third, winning the ball back. He plays it simple. Of course, he can go forward as well, but the best part of his game is how he wins the ball back, his interceptions, how he can almost run for two men in that midfield, and he would definitely free Enzo Fernandez up to do a lot more going forward. Now, obviously, we don't know when N'Golo's coming back. That could be the end of February by the time he's back in the squad, right? And that's being hopeful. Now, obviously, Kovacic wasn't fit for the last game. Could he be back for the West Ham game? I think that is an option right there. Kovacic, his skill set is a little similar to Enzo Fernandez, but he's not as... I don't think his vision is as good. I don't think his creativity is as good. We've seen that sometimes Kovacic in the final third, his quality is lacking, right? Sometimes he is a bit hesitant to play the ball forward as well. Sometimes he also has a lapse in concentration as well for some reason. He's a very Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde player, that's how I like to put it. One day he looks like a world-class player, the next day he just looks terrible. I don't know what it is with him. But I think if you use him more as a deep player, almost like where Jorginho was playing and you let Enzo push on, I think Kovacic could excel in that role because he is very good on the ball. He can play the ball out and he also can walk past players and advance to play that way. And I think that just enables you to get the most out of Enzo in the short term. I think there's a conversation to be asked whether Kovacic is going to be here long term, but I think for now, that could be a good starting point. Obviously, if you're going to play 4-3-3, if you want to play Enzo at the base of the midfield, I still think it's a bad idea. I still think you need to put people around him. For the short term, could you put Loftus-Cheek in a more deep role? Obviously, Ruben Loftus-Cheek has played there. He's not great defensively, but he is very good on the ball, and he can advance the ball. And again, he's another player who you say sometimes his quality in the final third is poor. Let's get into a few potential signings Chelsea could make in the summer to play next to Enzo Fernandez. Now, I saw there was a rumour that he wants to play with Declan Rice. I mean, I don't understand Spanish, but I think the crux of it was that he says he admires Declan Rice, he watched Declan Rice, he thinks he's a good player. Now, obviously, West Ham aren't having the best season. Declan Rice is not being talked about as much. How much would he cost? We saw David Moyes come out and say he's going to be a British transfer signing. I think David Moyes is high, bruv. Honestly, I don't know what he's talking about. Man is lost. Look, I think Declan Rice is a solid player. As at number 6, he breaks up play. He is very composed on the ball, playing short distances. You know what I mean? Like, he plays it simple. He's a perfect number 6, if you will. But does he give you that much going forward? Yes, he has quality on the ball. You can see even in interviews, he said he wants to get further up the pitch. He wants to contribute with goals. But I think his skill set is best served as that number 6. Now, would he be a good partnership to Enzo Fernandez? I think so. I think he would. Like I said, he provides that defensive stability. Obviously, he may not be the most athletic guy around, but he's still pretty strong. He's not slow, and he's got quality on the ball. And when you have someone like Enzo Fernandez, who he can sort of make up, and it's a good balance, like you see in the England squad, right? With Declan Rice freeing up some of the other players to go forward and do their thing. I think that could be, of course, that depends on price, because if he's anything above 70 million, I think you're overpaying. I think with the prices that are going to be demanded, it's going to be overpaying, and there's going to be a bunch of teams that are interested in him, right? Obviously, right now, apparently the main two contenders are Arsenal, Chelsea, but Man United, Manchester City, if they don't have a transfer ban, Liverpool will probably be interested. I'm sure there'll be foreign clubs interested as well, so we'll see what happens there. I think, obviously, another option will be Caicedo again. Again, I think paying any more than 50, 55 million for him is a drastic overpay, but he is a good player. He does excel more in the defensive third. Not as physical as Declan Rice, not as big, but he also has the qualities to go box to box, right? Which Declan Rice, sometimes he looks like he can, but most of the time he doesn't. He's more of a 6. I think Caicedo is someone to look at. Personally, I wouldn't really want Caicedo that much. I think he's a good player, but I think he still has a long way to go. The next one is actually an interesting one, and that is Sofian Amrabat. Apparently, Chelsea contacted Fiorentina on deadline day to see if they could get a loan for him. I think that would have been amazing. I think he obviously had a big World Cup. People were talking about him before the World Cup a little bit. But now I think the World Cup elevated his stock. He's a very aggressive number 6, and he is an out-and-out number 6. He doesn't really push forward that much. His game is crunching people. His game is winning that ball back. He's a big physical presence as well. That's something Chelsea have lacked in the midfield, is that big physical presence. I think Declan Rice would give you that. Kante obviously gives you that presence too. Zakaria gives it for you a little bit. I think Amrabat gives you that real physical presence. So obviously the question is he good enough to sustain that game in, game out? Playing at Fiorentina, it's not the same as playing at Chelsea, obviously. But I think it would be something to consider if you miss out on your big targets, right? Obviously Barcelona were very interested too. Some lesser known people that maybe Chelsea, if they don't get their top targets, could go for. I mean, I think Chelsea will get their top targets, but you see the way Palhinha bullied us the other day. I don't think Palhinha is necessarily that good of a player, but he's a type of player Chelsea need. And would he be available on a maybe a cheaper price than some of the other players? Potentially. Will Chelsea go for him? I doubt it. Ruben Neves, again, another one. I wouldn't go for Ruben Neves. I mean, I think Wolves have always set a higher price. That's way too high, 50 plus million. Maybe if it was 35, you'd think about it. But his skill set is more similar to Enzo's skill set, right? He's not a ball winner. He plays the ball. Obviously, there's Zakaria, who still plays for Chelsea. Could he be something on a permanent deal? Again, he does give me more box-to-box vibes at times. He can win the ball back. He is industrious. He is a physical presence. He is good on the ball, better than I expected him to be. But will Chelsea decide to sign him long-term? Who knows at this point? He's only on loan. Obviously, Onana was another one Chelsea wanted. I think he's a good player. Again, a box-to-box midfielder, very physical presence. He seems very happy at Everton though. So if they get relegated, maybe. All in all, I think if you're talking about who could fit with Enzo right now, I think N'Golo Kante is the main target, right? He's the guy at Chelsea where they get fit. He'll be the perfect partner. I think him and Kovacic would provide a decent partnership. I think him and Zakaria would be good too for the short term, but in the long term, I think Chelsea will be looking at a Declan Rice type to get in there and really do the dirty work while Enzo can push forward. So you guys let me know who should play with Enzo both in the short term and in the long term. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.